Well, good morning, everyone. This is Mighty Stream. Today is May the 23rd. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. Real grateful to be with you this morning to do the Just for Today. Let's get right into it. It is entitled Amends and Sponsors. We want to be free of our guilt, but we don't wish to do so at the expense of anyone else. Basic text, page 40. Let's face it, most of us left trails of destruction in our wakes and harmed anyone who got in our way. Some of the people we hurt most in our addiction were the people we loved most. In an effort to purge ourselves of the guilt we feel for what we've done, we may be tempted to share with our loved ones in gruesome detail things that are better left unsaid. Such disclosures could do much harm and may do little good. The ninth step is not about easing our guilty consciences. It's about taking responsibility for the wrongs we've done. In working our eighth and ninth step, we should seek the guidance of our sponsor and amend our wrongs in a manner that won't cause us to owe more amends. We are not just seeking freedom from remorse. We are seeking freedom from our defects. We never again want to inflict harm on our loved ones. One way to ensure that we do not is by working the ninth step responsibly, checking our motives, and discussing with our sponsor the particular amends we plan to make before we make them. Just for today, I wish to accept responsibility for my actions. Before making any amends, I will talk with my sponsor. That's a very good just for today. So it has been less than 24 hours that my mother-in-law passed away. She passed away peacefully with her two surviving sons at her bedside yesterday evening. And yeah, it's been just about 12 hours. And this topic about making amends is so fitting, so fitting. One of the things that we want to make sure of is that we know as recovering addicts that we've created a lot of harm, a lot of destruction. In fact, it says most of us left trails of destruction in our wakes and harmed anyone who got in our way. That's because at the core of our disease is our self-centeredness, right? So we know that even though it would have been more practical to meet our responsibilities, to do the things that we said we would do, once the disease of addiction is active, all bets are off, right? So even if we tell someone we're going to do it, the possibility of us actually doing it is slim. And then if we do actually do what we say we're going to do, and we're in the grips of the disease of addiction, a lot of times we cause them embarrassment and hurt being in their presence because of the things we say, do or don't do. So in this situation, we are being encouraged to be mindful that we have done quite a lot in our using days. We have done quite a lot. And the thing about people, and I just want to say this, the thing about people is that although they know forgiveness is a worthy attribute, and many people believe that if you don't forgive, you can't be forgiven, right? But the truth of the matter is that very few people understand what forgiveness actually is. When a person forgives, you are placing love in front of the injury, right? You're placing like honey or aloe vera, right? Some soothing natural substance. You're placing something that is naturally there, which should be love, in front of the injury, right? And so now instead of seeing what they've done, your love shields you from having to see what they've done and be resentful. I'm not talking about forgetting something. I'm talking about forgiving something. Very few people really understand the spiritual connotation of forgiveness and why it is such a blessing to oneself to forgive another. So very few people get that, right? So here we go into our 8th and 9th step. We put them on the list. We've talked with our sponsor and we've said, this is the amends that I believe I need to make. And your sponsor gives you the go ahead to make it. Now, here you are making the amends, acknowledging the error. And we know a living amends is greater than just the verbal thing. It's not about saying sorry. It's about the fact that you've changed your ways and you are now wanting to approach them and let them know, I know I did you wrong. And I just want to let you know I know that. I'm very sorry. I was very sick at the time. And I know that I hurt you. And I want to look you in your eye. Or in some instances, I know this one lady, she flew to wherever she needed to make amends to the people at. And it was a beautiful vacation and experience for her, right? So people go at it in different ways. She wanted to make face-to-face amends with those people that she, felt moved to do so with. But for some people, it's going to be a letter. Some people, it's going to be a donation. It's going to be supporting a cause. Some people, it's going to be releasing balloons. For different people, there's different things because not every amends, hear me out, not every amends could be made the same way. We've done enough harm already. We don't have the right, for the sake of making ourselves feel better, to cause more harm. So now you go to make the amends and you had an agreement with your sponsor with how, and this is key. You had an agreement with your sponsor how you were going to make that amends. Because most people don't even get this far in their spiritual journey. They don't even get this far in the ideal that if someone actually harmed you or hurt you, that you would owe them any amends, that it could have been a two-way street, right? That you have a side of the street of your own that you need to clean. That's far-fetched for many people. Far-fetched, because many people will just say, I was the victim here and there's nothing, absolutely nothing that I owe. And in some cases, that's true. A child that is sexually abused does not owe her or his perpetrator anything, any amends, right? Other than to report and hopefully they land themselves in jail away from hurting other people, right? So I'm not talking about all situations. I'm talking about some situations. It was a two-way street. And there's some amends that you owe, right? So you have this agreement and you go to your sponsor and you're trying to make this particular amends. And they say something to you that triggers something in you. It triggers some other memories. Maybe some other memories that you and your sponsor had already talked about, but he or she told you, no, do not bring that up. Do not bring that up. No. Just admit that you know that you did some things that were harmful and you wanted to let them know that you're sorry for that. Don't go into, gory details about it. I think about situations of infidelity and stuff like that. No, 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 no. Don't go listing the names of the people you cheated on them with and where y'all went. And no, 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 no. We're not hurting people anymore intentionally just to make ourselves feel better. So here you are, and you feel inclined to go beyond what has been discussed with your sponsor. And later, if you indulge in that, more than likely you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. One, because you might not be honest with your sponsor that you did more than what you two agreed to, or you might lie, right? I think I said that twice. Excuse me. Attributed to my mind, not my heart today. So you may feel a need to cover over your tracks and not reveal that you went further and you said more. And maybe when you said more and went further, it broke out into a very ugly argument. And depending on who you're dealing with, you could possibly even be putting your life at stake, right? So we want to be careful. We want to be careful about how we go about making amends. We want to make sure that our motives for it are correct. We don't want it to be, oh, it's going to make me feel so much better. No, you're going to set things right through a living amends, but to acknowledge to this person that you were wrong, right? And apologize or let them have their say without having to say anything back. Maybe they just really needed you to acknowledge, right? That you drove their vehicle into a tree, high or drunk, right? So maybe they just want you to acknowledge that to them, right? If you say to them, is there anything I can do to make this right? That should be something that you have discussed with your sponsor, that you would put that offer on the table. Because in some instances, when you indicate, is there anything I can do? It's just fishing for information to allow you to consider how you might be able to really prove to them that you're sorry. Let's say it's money. And they'll be like, yeah, you can pay me back my money with interest. Depending on how much money it was that you didn't pay back, paying with interest may not be possible. You may need to set up a payment arrangement, right? To make a direct amends. That's something you might be able to handle, but hopefully you've discussed it with your sponsor that repayment of that money is possible, but it has to be on a payment plan, right? So the whole point is that you're not in recovery by yourself anymore. You have a sponsor and you have someone you can bounce things off. And when you come to this ninth step, make sure that you know in agreement with your sponsor what's appropriate, because you can get into the mix, you can get into a situation emotionally and it can sweep you away before you know it. And you end up going beyond what is healthy to do and causing more injury. I have a long day ahead of me. I just want to get in here and let you know that I'm thinking about you. I plan to be with you every day. And you will be able to have some idea, if you're following me, you will have some idea of how I am proceeding along in the strength of my recovery, in the hope of my recovery, even at painful uh, stages, during painful stages, how I will walk this out and end up on the other side of it, spiritually sound and fit, and not having used any person, place, or thing, and definitely not having used any mind or mood altering drug. So stay tuned and stick with me as we go through this process of celebrating the life of my mother-in-law, Mama Eva. God bless you, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.